I was born Doris Chigano. I am now Doris Pedoniquott. And I've been a widow for about 20 years now. And I have 6 children, 2 boys, 2 girls, and 2 boys. Girls are in the middle. And I guess I can tell you my kids' names are Brian, he's the oldest, and then David, then Martha, and everybody knows Martha. And then Nancy, and Tony, and Peter. And then I have 11 great-grandchildren. Trying to think how many grandchildren I have. 3 and 2 and 2, 6, possibly 7 grandchildren. And I love doing sewing and crafts, beading. It brings me in some extra money, spending money. And if somebody comes and asks me if I want to go for a ride, I'll say okay. Sometimes we're gone for a week, and I say okay because I don't have to stay at home to look after anybody. Just get somebody to come and feed my dogs and my cat, and everything's okay. It was hard raising 6 kids. Back then it was really hard to get welfare. If you went to ask for welfare, he asked you if you would give up your car for welfare, but he didn't, because how else was he going to get a job anywhere? So we'd go out picking apples at Meaford, or we'd go down to the Niagara region and we'd pick peaches, from going like that. From one other time we were away for a year. We worked on a farm. He worked on the farm more than I just raised the kids, and it was a potato farm. So we had all the potatoes we wanted all winter, because it was easy for him to bring them home. That was you had potatoes, potato soup, fried potatoes, baked potatoes. Well, it was always my dream to have a craft shop, so we just named it Peter's Dream. And the garage was just sitting there for a long time, and Brian suggested we should clean it out and make you a shop. So, because when people used to come looking for crafts, all I had was a box with a lid, and we'd just take it out, put it on the table, put everything on the table. So Brian fixed it up. We found insulation on Dial-A-Deal for $100 for 11 bundles. And it was enough to do the walls, and all we needed was one more piece, and we'd had enough. But we managed to find that somewhere. Then we put drywall in and an electric, and it's been a nice shop. Got a wood stove in there, and it's nice and warm in the winter when we make fire. It's sometimes it's even warmer than in the house here. I'd sleep out there, and it's been doing good. I used to have a sign up at the end of the road, and one up the other way, but haven't had it up lately, so it's not as busy, but still people still come because they know it's there. And I guess my reputation, my stuff is quality. I don't like sloppy work. I started beading, or sewing first. When I had Martha and Nancy, I started making their dresses. And I never used patterns, but I'd find a nice dress at the rummage sale and I'd take it all apart and that would be my pattern. I made pretty little dresses doing that. About 1971 I started beading. The kids, well, they were curious as to the beads and stuff, but when I said not to touch them, they wouldn't bother them. It was the cat that used to like putting his paws in the bowl, spilled one bowl of beads. He got yelled at and never did it again either. He learned. Well, I'd get my work done, dishes and stuff and laundry, and when all that was done, then I would do work on my beads and stuff. And I used to sell them up at the store up at Sydney Bay when there was a gas station and store up there. Irina Coenzi was the owner then, and she'd buy some of my stuff. It just continued all these years, and now that's mainly what I do. I love beading, so I've been beading ever since, and sewing. Then I ended up teaching beading and sewing. So there's lots of beaders around now and a lot of girls that are sewing to start your own sewing kits. Get your pins and scissors and whatever you need for sewing. Start collecting them. Someday you may have your own, be able to get your own sewing machine. So a lot of the girls now have sewing machines, and they love their sewing. We always get full classes whenever we have workshops. Even a craft shop, fabric shop that sells clothes, I look at you know, how they're made, especially where their hems are, and they'll roll this one, and then they put them together. So would you buy something that's made like that? This is the right way, is to sew them like that. Do the hem last. I know, that's what I told the girls when we started sewing. If you want to sell anything, make it right. Well, I sell the odd quilt, but they're not really for sale. But I've sold a couple, but mostly I give them away at Christmas. My kids, when I have 6, then I give them away. Then I save them again for a few years, and the grandkids will get one. They've all got them when they were babies, little baby quilts. And but I started making clothes before I started making quilts, because I was getting a lot of scraps left over, and so I started using them making quilts. My mom said I was about 3 or 4 years old when we moved away so my dad could find work. My mom never worked. She always stayed home and looked after the family. We moved back to Cape, and maybe a year later, my dad passed away. I must have been only about 15, 14 when my dad died. She raised us 5 girls and Pete. We all went to schools at Port, where the cop shop is now. I never went to high school. I went to Forest grade 8 and I got married. But my sisters, they all went to high school and they all eventually got married. And my mom raised us all, and she had 2 more boys later. I think she was getting mother's allowance then. So that's how she managed. Till she was, by then she got old age and the pension, and by then we were all gone from home. So she made out okay. No, she could have gave us up for adoption, children's aid, but she wouldn't hear of it. I wanted to learn how to play piano, So the minister's wife, she started teaching the girls whoever wanted to play piano. And then I got into the grade 2 music, piano. And by then I learned how to play with this hand, but I couldn't play with this hand. And then they moved away. And she used to have choirs. There's only 2 of us left out of the triple trio. When there were, she had 10 in the triple trio, and you're supposed to have 9, but she had 10. There's only 2 of us left. I don't like going to meetings and sit there and listen, even to church. I don't like going to church. I like going to church, but I don't like going to church because it's you know, my hands. I need to be busy with my hands. Usually I'm digging around in my purse. I like to hear language, but I don't speak it because my husband used to speak it all the time, so I got to understand it, and his parents spoke it, my mom spoke it, but my great-grandchildren are speaking it now because they're taking that in school. The youngest, well, she'd be the 3rd youngest, Lila. She's in, I think she's 5. She named their dog because he's brown. She named him Ozawa. Ozawande is brown, I think. That's what she named the dog. Call him Oza. She can count to 10 in Ojibwe. I can't even go up to 4. Yeah, my mom said I used to speak it too when I was 3 years old. Everybody spoke Ojibwe back then. Well, the closer powwow comes, the busier I am here. A lot of times I don't go anywhere. I'll stay here and do what I'm doing till late at night. But near the powwow that's when I start doing my clothes, jingle dresses. They're mostly for kids. It takes me a day and a half to do one jingle dress. But a shirt, I can get one done in a day, all day. But when I cut out a jingle dress or a little vest or men's shirt, I cut 2 out. It saves time. So they'll be the same size, but the next time you'll cut a different size out. I'm busy all the time doing this because I love doing this. There's so much stuff I want to make, not enough time.
I know. What a dilemma, eh?